Hello everyone. Today I'm gonna continue with the last video that talking about code block. Sorry for some technical issue about my computers. Actually, I have a little problem with it, and the video is lacking as you might saw it. That's why I think I need to recapture the scenes again, and mainly focusing on how to write your very first programs. Okay, came back to code block, then you can see that okay, whenever you want to do anything, you need to create new project. Again, I recommend you to save all the project in one single folder that you create for the whole semester. Okay, all the application that we do so far is gonna be focusing on console application. So every time you create new project, you put it into console application right there. Then again, select only C, not C++, because if you select C++, then it might integrate some syntax that you might not be used or might not be able to use for standard C. And then again, I'm gonna put it somewhere in my laptop, maybe in document, and then CPE100 workspace. Here is going to be your very first program. Okay. Then here on the left hand side, you're gonna have space to show your project, the source code of the project. And then when you open it up, it's kind enough to have a template for this program, and it's just simply you can use it for testing that your setup environment is working well or not. Okay, again, every time that you're writing something in the code, you need to save and build it. If you don't build it, then when you run the program, they're gonna run the last build of your code, the last time that you compile your code. Okay, here you build and then you run, or you click build and run. Then the output screen is gonna be in terminal to say okay, hello Kajan Wood, how are you today, whatsoever. That is my last code actually. So yeah, I think what I would like to show in the last video when it become lacking is that C programming languages have their own patterns. It's like what you saw in the Scratch. And the basic patterns of C languages is that every sentence, every line of code have to end up with semicolon there. Okay, if I remove it out, I save it, and then I click build and run. What's gonna happen is the debugger in code block will check that okay, the program has a bug right there. Then if you look at the program here, you see they have the debugging mode, and the standard debugging mode, like I tell you last time, you have to set it up. For some people it's gonna work fine straightforward after you install, but for some you need to set it up at setting, debugger, and then here at default you have to change the path. Okay, and then here by debugging, what does this mean is that it's going to tell you important information where on your program, where on your code that have some mistake and make program unable to compile. So here you can see they expect to have semicolon before return. So the tricky part is that if you press enter there, and then it's separate from line 6 and line 7 by your own eyes. The problem is program doesn't consider it to be different line yet. unless you put semicolon. So from this state, it means that if you build and run here, they're gonna say like, okay, they expect to have semicolon before return, which is actually mean like before return you doesn't have any code. You have to look one line above and check, okay, oh, I forgot semicolon here. Then this, yeah, as I say, like the C languages is not that easy to interpret or like similar to human languages yet, but then is be able, like in some shape and form, you be able to interpret how it's gonna work, how it's gonna run, and in that kind of sense, every line of code, don't forget to put the semicolon. If not, it's not gonna work well. Then you have printf here for printing something out of the program. Then remember what we did in the scratch. Normally you need to get input from user as well, right? So you're thinking about your Facebook page, website, every interactive program, user have to key some input into the program before it can work. Then you can get the input from the program, use it and process it and making some response. So the idea is that if printf is something that you can use for print out the information, the thing that you can use for getting some information is called scanf. Right there. And you see again they have some template for helping you. So if I do something like scanf, and for now you can continue like what I did right here is like scanf %d and number, for example. Okay. And then you try to run it. Okay, right now you can encounter with kind of similar problems that you have when the first time that you making the program by scratch. You want to store some information, but you need to have space for it. And the space for it is variable. Remember, in Scratch, you need to create variable first, then you can store some information in that variable, and then you can use it later on. In C programming languages as well, you want to store some kind of integer value in numbers. Then it means you need to declare variable in the integer type to get those information. And then here is kind of magic symbol for now. I will explain later on in the later class that you need to put ampersand in front of variable that you want to store information in. So we will try to print this information out. Right here. We'll see how it's gonna work. Is this gonna work right now? So it's completely work. Then look at the screen. It's gonna be blank screen and it has some blip cursor to indicate that you can put some integer right there. So if I input something like 1, 2, 3, then it will print out that input number that I inputted in is 1, 2, and 3. So that is kind of basic program that you can do. You can get some information. You need variable to store. And then if you want to print it out, you need to command it to print it out. It's very similar way with the thing that you did with the Scratch. But now you just need to relearn the sentence, the syntax, how it's going to call, how it's going to be used. So that's kind of thing you need to relearn it again in C languages. And I hope you're going to enjoy these simple programs. And the next thing that I want to do is that I want to redo the thing that you did in the Scratch and teach you again by those kind of example. Okay, then if you still be able to remember flow chart or pseudocode on how to making a flow of the program, if you still be able to remember that, it's gonna be very helpful for you for the entire class. So I highly recommend you to go back to your to the previous lecture, look at the code, look at the way that you describe and create the procedure of the program. Then we will learn how to translate it back to the C languages. Thank you for this time and see you around.